Hey everyone, it's Jeremy again, and we're back with the part two of our Atomic Train review. You know, my friend Nate Thomas, he is the one who requested us to review this movie, and he's once again joining me for it. Thank you for joining me again.
Hey, glad we could finally do it after life itself seemingly didn't want this recording to come out.
Yeah, we had a couple of scheduling problems, but we're finally getting to the recording today, and now we're getting into what we mentioned not so subtly in the first part of the where everything literally falls downhill.
A literal train wreck of a finale.
Right. This for the most part for the movie, it was pretty good paced and well written film. Good character writing.
The effects.
Yeah, the effects were pretty good, and the pacing was generally really well. It's just that it kind of all basically goes wrong with the nuclear explosion itself.
Oh boy.
The I, my friend has mentioned to me when we watched the movie for itself, and during the first part of this movie review, that you could tell it kind of starts to get. It really gets bad when that guy. You see, he's the only one who reacts to the explosion.
I don't know if we can get a screenshot of that up in editing or not, but I
Uh,
pointed that out to people who've never seen the movie and even they saw that.
yeah, I mean, I guess one might say in that sense, maybe some people wouldn't have time to react, and that's understandable given the nature of the explosion and everything. It's just you would think some of those people were pretty close to him, so you think, and a little farther away, so you think they might have, reacted at least, before they were killed in the blast.
I wonder if the extras just didn't realize they were on camera because you saw them walking clearly for at least 2 or 3 seconds after he got blasted backwards.
And the cutout sort of the explosion of that guy reacting, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I mean, like it seemed like the editing on that wasn't the best.
It went super speed in like 1 second.
Though in that case, like maybe you could say that with the explosion, like you wouldn't have like a full like moment of him like screaming and everything. But like I think for maybe like you said, like there'd be some people who might have that reaction just in a little bit of time. But
Do I want to go historical with World War II, or do I not want to go historical? Is my question.
in what sense?
Okay, I'm not the biggest expert on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, even though I love doing research on World War II.
Hmm.
But the atomic bomb, it still gave you, unless you're at the epicenter, of course, I can understand that. People say like there was at least time before the waves got to them, like before the people who survived the bombing.
Hmm.
Like one guy was famously quoted again. I can't quote the exact quote because I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Right.
He said it felt hot, like I was putting my hand up against an oven glass, and then it just got hotter. But this guy
Well,
at the epicenter, he should have been blasted to pieces, not just blown backwards like that.
with the with this like and I'm not an expert on explosions alone like nuclear weapons and everything. It's
Let's hope not. We're not.
right, and it's the my guess is like the intensity of the explosion and the chemical makeup and everything, like it would you'd think it would have incinerated you instantly or within a
Yeah, that's
very
the point. Energy disperses the farther it gets away, but they're literally. I don't think it's specified that the command center was that far away. It was at least a few feet away, anyway.
at least.
I can
And
understand if maybe it was 100 yards away or something, but still, that's the epicenter for that kind of blast.
yeah, it's maybe with the force of the explosion, he might have been knocked back, but with the way with the flames and everything. Well, like I said, I'm not an expert on this, so
No, no,
please
I'm
correct me
just
if
saying.
I'm wrong. But yeah, that's why I am I like following what
I
you're
love how you
saying.
asked the comment section to correct us if we're wrong. The
I mean,
comment section, do you guys know anything about nuclear bombs? Please tell us.
maybe they do. I don't know. It's I mean, some
The
people
FBI is going
are
to respond
interested
to
in
that
different
comment.
things. I mean, like I need to be I need to like at least well, like, just in case, like, maybe, in the sense of, like, if
No,
I'm
I
being
got you.
correct in my analysis of what's, going on here.
I'm
Bec
just waiting for the FBI open up meme to just play in this video.
mm, maybe, I'm not sure yet, but, with the, matter of the, this matter of the explosion and everything, like, even, like, as you said, like, it was a few feet away, so even if they had reacted and, like, it like you said, it would've just, like, basically incinerated them within moments, because of the because even though this isn't, like I say, is necessarily as powerful as, like, the maybe some of the weapons that they were present at the time of where this movie was,
Yeah, they even said that, like, it was one of the more cheaper models.
and even still, it's a nuclear weapon, it's gonna do a lot of damage, with
Call of Duty 4, Charlie Don't Surf anybody? Or, excuse me, Shock and Awe.
I don't honestly know that game, so I can't, speak to that, but, like,
Look it up, you'll be fascinated.
uh, with it, but with the errors in the film, don't, stop there. It's the, some of the, editing and, like, moments within the, this, final part of the movie that you makes you question, like, the, statements from, certain characters, like the, what was the guy's name? It was the, expert and analyst who was, like, advising the president on the weapons and everything.
I don't well, I forget the guy's name, Sabal or something like that.
Mhm. Like, he was, like, talking about, like, how the, oh, and the, general, were talking about, like, the, what kind of, fallout and affects the explosion would have on not just the city, but the surrounding area and everything. And we see,
Yeah.
like, even from a considerable distance, like, the wave of the explosion, like, spread out for a considerable, amount of space, and it was and we see, like, buildings being destroyed, uh, uh, like, the, people, being incinerated and everything, and, like the general said, like, it would've, like, destroyed, like, or, like, basically shorted out, all kinds of, transportation in that area of effect, but we
Well,
see, like,
that's an EMP, that's just standard with a nuclear bomb.
yet we see at least 2 moments, like, when that, group of people in that small bus came, driving into that place where, Seeger and his wife were, and then later that person that that dead guy who was driving, who was deceased by the time he got to where Seeger was. Like, and if they got there like after that point of the explosion, where were they? Like, what? And
Didn't they say, though, vehicles with a microchip would be affected, so maybe within the realm of plausibility, they were older model vehicles?
possibly it's
I'm not trying to excuse the ending of the movie, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think outside the box.
right. And it's like the and if there is an explanation, maybe I'm not thinking of it. It's just like, it kind of sort of in some ways, like, goes against, like, what they were, like, explaining the dangers of the explosion and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
It's like those
Let's talk
little
about
sorry, I was
no,
just
you're already
yeah?
talking, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, it's like those little moments of, like, going against, like, the explanations of the story and everything that aren't really explained in some sense, well, at least not completely, that would, I guess that would, like, correct the, or explain what was going on in those moments. But
Let's
those
talk
are
about the bad effects. Oh, lord.
that, there was, like, 2 shots of, Denver that were, mm, that you could
Poorly rendered.
yeah, like, it's kinda like it was kinda just although it was supposed to, like, give the effect of, like, hell on earth, it's just that the,
So bad.
like
Can we get a screenshot of that up in editing,
yeah,
please?
I'll see and try to, with that,
It's not
and
even just that, but they cut back to it at least twice, and it's like, they were proud of this effect, it looks like.
I don't know, it's the, manner of, like, the how the sky was, presented and, like, how the city wasn't as, like,
It looked
destroyed.
red and green, it looks unnatural. Yeah, I know a bomb just went off and all, but god, I have to make this comparison.
Mhm.
It's like the bad effects from Jaws 3, otherwise known as Jaws 3D.
Mm.
There's multiple scenes because the film was shot in 3D where it holds on these really bad effects because it's like they want to show off their 3D. It's like so bad. It's like you're proud of these effects?
And, like, with the city itself, it wasn't as, destroyed as I, would have thought it would have been, like, even if not every building was destroyed, you think you would have seen a lot more destruction and, like, a devastation within the city. It was more like the sky and, like, the base ground was mostly, like, affected in some ways.
Wasn't there a point where I pointed out to you when this was a scenario shot, you can clearly see moving cars?
I think
Oops.
I think you did. When I went through the, rewatch again today, I think I missed that, and,
It's really
but
hard. You have to pause it at the right scene because you can clearly see like moving cars, like they just shot it and put a filter over it. Oops.
it's like, there's, like, little moments within certain, like, movies and TV shows where those little moments that sometimes people don't always catch, like, in the, one of the last episodes in the last season of, Game of Thrones, it has that moment where it has that Starbucks cup in the
The
scene, and
Skyrim mod that came from it.
yeah, and the, last episode of the show, he shows this water bottle by one of the actors in the scene as well. It's those little moments that that some people might not catch at first, but when you catch it, you know it's a glaring issue that people, should have, like, seen and, like, edit and, like, redone the shot, but
I mean, I can understand if a boom microphone is in the shot or whatever, because sometimes that's hard to catch in editing.
yeah.
Like, there's multiple things I've seen where, like, there was a TV miniseries. I don't want to give this series any credit because it was a horrible adaptation of the movie. But when the people are talking in front of the hotel in a glass window, you can clearly see the reflection of a boom mic for like 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah, with that, it's, a matter of, like, catching what you're doing, like, directors and editors will, like, catch that, pretty well, uh, where I went to, at college, like, when we were, doing recording recording something, I was, holding the boom mic, and I wasn't, like, holding it carefully enough, and, like, the director said, "Burn the shot," because he saw it instantly and redid it. So, some people will catch that instantly, and some people, won't. Credit to Dr. Ed Smith at Georgetown College for catching my mistake, my
Shout out
mess
to the
up.
college.
Yeah, for catching that. For catching that, but with it, you see the little moments like really add to a scene in different ways, and with the setting, you have to be really careful with what you're presenting in the shot or what you may have missed, and that's why it's important to like go through the footage and everything, and like those little scenes, even if you might not catch it at first, but if you like go through, or maybe some people will catch it, and like obviously, like I said, with my professor at the college, but and you with the that moment in the movie, even if you might not see it at first, there will be times where you will see it and you'll say, "Oh, that's a issue that should have been seen and fixed."
Well, I mean, that's not the. I can understand if it's a minor issue. Like I said, some scenes are obviously hard, and sometimes some things will slip through editing, no matter how hard you try.
Right.
But when it's just so constantly bad effects left and right, it's as close to I can say as being painful without being painful. Because I think we did have a couple of laughs with how bad the effects were.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, with
Not
certain
insufferable, but
yeah, like, some things were worse than others, and also, you have, like, other moments that you makes you feel like it, like, kind of, like, took away from the movie, or it didn't feel the same. Because you mentioned, to me, and we talked about this, while we were watching the movie and after, that it, like, after the explosion and everything, it felt like an entirely different, movie that wasn't really, uh, like, fitting in with, like, the
you
story
lose
that
all
went
your
before.
suspense.
And it's like, as you said, it's almost like a post-apocalyptic, like, survival, film at that
Yeah,
point.
it turns into generic survival film when it was clearly doing something good. Like, I can understand if the bomb went off, cut to end credits, like, maybe have news footage, like, over a black screen or, like, the audio over a black screen. Sometimes a movie has a bad ending, nothing you could do about that. Sometimes there's a downer ending. But if they stopped it, it would have been a perfect climax, like, can he defuse the bomb before the water gets dropped on him? It's like, Make up your mind. What do you want to be? You're already over 2 hours anyway. Why do you get by adding that almost other hour? We know the main characters are gonna survive in the end. Oh, except for the step cop. Huh, he insultingly gets the shaft, quite literally.
With his, like, final, like, scenes, it was, when that, owl, like, flew at
Horrible
them
effect of an animatronic, I think.
and, like, when Mac, like, fell, he fell, considerable distance down from where they originally were.
Dead instantly.
If not dead, like, multiple bones broken. Like, he fell on like, he was on his back. Like, you think he would've, like, broken his arms or maybe even
That's a
his neck.
back or spine injury.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been able to move if and even if he was able to move, it would have been not as much as he was able to in his, scenes.
When he gets pulled down the mine shaft later into his death, I just want somebody to edit in the goofy sound effect.
I think it was, like, a manner to, like, maybe, like, work on, like, suspense or, like
Does it horribly though when it's so cartoony.
it's I don't know, it's with that scene, it was, I guess, like, supposed to, like, add, like, after effects to the, explosion, like I don't know,
You're not talented enough.
I don't know, I don't
But what
like,
does an effect like that that's so cartoony add to a suspenseful moment? It's like an example of a good runaway train movie that actually was really based on a true event, even though they changed some things around, obviously,
mhm,
was the 2010 Denzel Washington and Chris Pine film, Unstoppable. Let's put that poster up in editing. That's
yeah,
one of my favorite movies, actually. That movie was based heavily on a real event, including scenes from the movie that they actually tried in real life to stop the train until they finally got it. It's actually a really interesting story, The Crazy Eights Runaway Train. It's a really interesting story. I'd recommend anyone looking it up. But there's a scene in the movie where they have to stop the train, like put the brakes on or it's going to go over a curve. They don't fully stop it, but they slow it down enough just to get it over the curve. You see Denzel, like, I'm giving away the climax of this movie, guys, but,
sure.
like, he's running on the top of the train cars. Really good effects, by the way. I can't even tell if it's a stuntman or actually Denzel, it's that good. But when he's jumping, imagine they added Super Mario effects jump sounds, the boing. That wouldn't add anything to the movie, that would be distracting and annoying.
It's like, as we said, like, the little pieces can really add to the moment, and
Little pieces can't always destroy a movie, but when they keep adding up,
it, adds to the, errors and, like, mistakes within the story, like, maybe what could have worked better possibly was, like, instead of, like, Mac, like, and, like, not dying how he did, but instead either he was dead as soon as he fell or that, he was, uh, far more severely injured or, permanently, paralyzed, even though, that's a, horrible thing to
I hate to
maybe
say this, I would have felt more emotion if he died right away, because there's no way he survived that fall. He landed on his back, that's a broken spine at least.
and a broken neck, if not that. It would have
Can't believe I'm
added
laughing at that.
it's a it's those, like even if it was, like even if it didn't, like, necessarily, like, make things, like, it wouldn't have really, like, made up for, like, the, necessarily for the bad editing of
There's
the
really
city.
choppy editing in this.
Yeah, but it would have, like, added to the impact of what the story was, because even though it wasn't, you say, as suspenseful as what was going on with the bomb itself, it would have, like, really, like, added to the, in some ways to the, like, the serious and, like, tense,
Like,
tones of
did
the
they
film.
waste all their budget on that first half? It almost feels like it almost feels like a different editor took over because it's really badly edited.
Yeah, I mean, there were some, like, shots in the movie where they were like, before this part were the same or similar, but they, were more understandable with, like, the, uh, setting and, like
With the train, there's certain shots you can only get, and I understand if you have to cut a few corners with that.
yeah, I mean, like, like, not everything is gonna be perfect, maybe, like, as you hope for, but, like, it was still, like, better than, like, what we saw. But another part that kind of, like, I mentioned this, and I can't remember how much we talked about it, was, the guy who, like, caused, started all this, that Henry
Yeah,
guy.
John Henry Bradshaw.
yeah, who snuck that, the bomb onto it. There was, like, nothing, like, done that we saw, like, after the explosion was done, like, you the president and his,
Team.
team were, like, searching for him and everything, like, nothing was really, like, shown, like, I
All
mean
he does is help a wounded person. This is my reaction whenever they find him. To jail, you mass murderer. My God, you're getting the chair for this.
I mean,
Tell me he's not deserving of that after all he cost.
oh, I'm not saying he isn't deserving, it's just where was any of this? Like, where was, like,
It doesn't even seem to end, it just seems to stop.
I mean, like you said before, like, instead of, like, going to where it was in this part, like, maybe cut to black and, like, have it like the news effect of, like, after, the fallout and, like, the events after, like, maybe finding him and, like, convicting him or, like, people possibly, like, survivors of Denver, like, assaulting, possibly even killing him in vengeance for what happened. Because,
It's like,
some people would do that, understandably.
oh God, I'm not denying that, but it's just like, I hate when a movie has a really good concept and then it feels like it has to shoehorn in something else.
It just feels like, they weren't like you said, they weren't really telling the same story or like those little, aspects of the plot were, like, taken away because even I don't know, like, you would have thought, like, there would have been something would have happened to him, in after all this had happened, I mean,
I
like
think I said what happens to him when they finally find.
yeah, I mean, like, the president himself, like, likely every, news group and law enforcement agency and, like, just every civilian that, like, can recognize like, that would have seen the news, would have been out looking for him and hunting him, and, like
They'll keep the electric chair nice and warm for him.
yeah, even he might even make it to that point, but,
That's the one time when you're happy for the cops to show up when you're getting beaten to death.
I mean, it feels like that they kind of, took away from his character in that story and the effect
It
he had.
railroads it, no pun intended.
Huh?
It
I didn't hear.
railroads it, no pun intended.
Right, it's like, I would have thought that there would have been something, like, with his character at the end, not just him helping that, that little girl, at
Yeah,
that
it
the
was.
point when they're walking through the woods. Like, after he gets to the, FEMA, like, refugee camp, we never see him again. Like,
It feels like
nothing
they just wanted to wrap up the movie.
yeah, it's like, you
What do
have,
you mean
like
we're out of money? We got 20 more scenes to shoot.
yeah, like, it was like, we had built up to the explosion, and, like, we would've every like, at least some people would have thought, "Well, what's gonna happen to this guy? What are they gonna do to him when they find him?" Like,
Roll
there need
credits.
yeah, there needs to be something that comes out of all of this. It has to show something in the end, and we never see anything.
That's one of the biggest crimes in both cinema and literature is where you have an ending that's just not resolutionary, or if that's the right term.
I mean,
Just go with it.
it was the matter of, like, I'm like, it was, like, showing, like, Seeger and the others and his family, like, starting to, like, pick up the pieces of everything both literally and metaphorically at the end in that camp, but
I never
I
thought I'd be able to make this comparison for another TV movie, but Stephen King's Langoliers had a better resolution than this movie did, and that's a comparison I never thought I'd make.
Linger I don't think I've heard of that one.
Remind me to show you clips of that when we're done with this recording. Oh
Mm,
my gosh, did that have some of the worst CGI you've ever seen?
mm,
It's not that bad. It's not those floating ape testicles bad. Please believe that. But
mm. It Like, there's so much, like, even though, like, he's only in it for, like, a few scenes in the movie, like, he has the most impact in the film than any other character, basically.
oh yeah,
Be
without any doubt. But it's just I don't know. What else can we even really say? We've touched everything this finale had bad. Had the acting was okay. The effects were horrible, borderline god awful. Interestingly enough, not the worst effects I've ever seen in a movie. I don't know how that's possible.
mm,
The editing was horrible. Not Inspector Gadget level bad, but still
Mm.
pretty bad.
As you said, this last part of the film is both a metaphorical and literal train wreck because of like the writing just basically like it goes away from what the movie was before this. There's like
Again, I have a soft spot for this movie. I
oh
grew up with it. I was a train buff as a kid, but I never fully saw the movie until like I want to say I was in late high school or even out of high school. It took a lot of searching on YouTube, by the way. This is a hard movie to find it for a while. You can't even find a DVD copy unless you pay a lot of money.
it's a lesser known film than some others, but
This is
it's
a film that I don't think deserves to be abandoned. Admire it for the first half, admire it for the first part of the third. Then this film clearly did not apply its emergency brakes.
it feels like all the build up in many ways was basically wasted on the final part because of what happens in the end. And
I think it goes to the old argument: can an ending ruin an otherwise good film?
yeah, and this is
It
definitely
depends on the movie.
right. And this is definitely a considerable a considerable example of that argument.
It's not like AI bad to that degree by any means, but
Mm,
again, I've touched on that movie briefly in another review. I give Spielberg credit for wanting to have his friend's vision done, and I know people didn't agree with him, but at least he wanted to get his friend's vision done the way he wanted.
mm.
But this, I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I like I said, I think we've said basically everything that we needed to say on this. I mean, there's you could say maybe there's like maybe like we didn't get every little detail, but we got like the main points. It gave specific examples of each
It
one.
ruined any minor detail. The bigger stuff was just too big to ignore. If there was anything minor, we honestly just didn't notice it or glanced briefly over it.
Yeah, because even though, like I said, little details can like add to a scene, it just sometimes when there's bigger moments and scenes and impacts that are basically like completely altered or like are take away from like the movie that we knew before, you're often gonna focus on those parts.
It's like the movie Jaws. Like I know you're not a big fan of that one. We won't get into this here, but
Mm,
I know the shark looks fake the more you see him near the end of the movie, even though it was a convincing effect for the time.
mm,
It's like, is the shark looking that bad really taken away from what's considered a classic movie? And I can back that up. I personally enjoy this movie.
mm,
It is the film that made the summer blockbuster, Jaws. It really did launch Spielberg's career as a big director.
mm.
But it's like, does the shark looking bad in some shots really take away from what's a classic film? I don't think it does personally.
I can understand that the even with like little moments that maybe certain films have had that are that you can like question or think that aren't like as well suited to like the story and everything in certain moments and characters like the overall feel for a film even with those minor maybe flaws or mistakes it's still the film can still be beloved.
What else can we even say about this movie? Technical difficulties, guys. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
but yeah, I think we've said we all we needed to say on this movie. I want to thank you, Nate, again for requesting us to do this film, and thank you for joining me again.
I'm gonna do this when I join you. I'm gonna give what I'm reviewing either one thumbs up or thumbs down, or two thumbs up or thumbs down,
Gotcha.
or vice versa. And this is my opinion on this movie this time.
Yeah, I understand that.
One up, one down.
Right,
Literally one half is good, or rather one half is good, one half is bad.
right. This was like a good movie for like a considerable length of time, but when that explosion happens, it all falls apart.
Literally a train wreck that, guys, I'm sorry to say, this film should have put on the emergency brakes.
Right, but yeah,
Unlike one of our next crossover reviews,
at some point, we'll be within maybe the next few months, possibly, we will be doing a review discussion on the what was it, 1998 movie?
yes, 1998, Mighty Joe Young, an underrated Disney film, one of my top 5 films.
I have not watched the movie yet, but I've heard.
Please do.
I will try to watch it maybe a couple times before we do the review.
Screw Godzilla 98 for causing this film to bomb at the box office.
But that will be something I'm hoping we'll be able to do within the next maybe few months or so. And at some point in the future, Nate has come up with a very interesting and very profound possibility for a video that I think we could really need to consider and do. It is it's going to be a friendly and a friendly debate on what
and
movie.
moderated one.
Yeah, friendly, moderated debate between what movie is better, The Dark Knight or Logan.
Dark Knight.
I I believe Logan is a better movie, but as we
Them's
said,
fighting words right there,
mm,
buddy. Put them up.
but as we've both agreed, they're both really good movies, and we think. I just think Logan is a little better, and he thinks The Dark Knight is a little better. We'll be
You're
debating
so
that,
sure of that.
mm, and we'll be debating that at some point in the future. I don't know when exactly yet, but
Yeah.
I can't wait to do that with you. Maybe we can get maybe a couple more people in. I just don't
Yeah.
know yet.
We have already got a moderator selected who has requested not to appear on camera or had
Yeah.
her
Uh,
actual name mentioned. Thank you, Rush, for that, by the way.
yeah. Thank you again, and possibly some other people. I'm not sure yet because
You're going
like
down.
yeah, there's some other people I would like to include in future videos as well. I just
And just
that
be
is
me
up
in
to
the
them.
guest critic chair.
Yeah. But that is, up to them and in the future. I'm not trying to push them with this. I'm sorry if that's what that's what it feels like. I'm
It's
just,
not. I'm just saying, I want to join the guest critic chair. I love doing it.
yeah,
Can't just be me, though.
yeah. But yeah, thank you again, Nate, for joining me and requesting we do this movie review.
All right, Internet. Let's
And
do this.
but I hope you all had a happy holidays and
Merry
hopefully
Christmas,
this new
guys.
year is good for all of you.
All right, let's hope the next movie, of course, I do know it, lives up to the expectations.
Yeah. All right. We'll see y'all then. Thank you for watching.
Y'all